Hello, Mr. Yo. Today, we would like to give you a presentation on why inflation happens in a country. In this group, we have Nathaniel, Adrian Cundawan, Afrika Alice, and Amabel Kezia. So the list of things that we will be speaking about today is, first things first, of course, the meaning of inflation. Then we'll be talking about three main causes to inflation. So there is increased demand inflation, cost push inflation, and printing a lot of money. So let's get to it.
So here first we have to define what is inflation. So inflation is a process of increasing prices in general and continuously. An increase in the price of one or two goods alone cannot be called inflation unless the increase extends on other goods. Inflation is related to market mechanisms which can be caused by various factors, including the increased public consumption, excess liquidity in the market that triggers consumption, or even speculation, or to include the result of an uneven full distribution of goods. In addition, economic instability and the level of sales also lead to inflation. In other words, inflation is also a process of continuously decreasing the value of the currency.
There's three main causes into inflation. The first one is increased demand. Inflation can be caused by increased demand or excessive demand in the market. Because of the law of supply demand, along with the increase in demand, the price will also increase, causing inflation. Usually, the increase in demand occurs when the economy is good and the unemployment rate is small. This is very relevant in Indonesia, which can be said that the people are relatively consumptive. In the 1980s, Indonesia experienced rapid economic development due to tax cuts and reduced interest rates. As a result, property demand increased, causing property price to also increase rapidly at 30%. The increase in the property price is also a result in higher spending. On the other hand, the value of savings is also lower, and there is a significant increase in lending.
So now we'll be talking about cost push inflation. Cost push inflation is caused by an increase of prices of inputs like labor, raw material, etc. The increased price of the factors of production leads to a decreased supply of these goods. While the demand remains constant, the prices of commodities increase during a rise in the overall price level. Now, this is, in essence, cost push inflation. In this case, the overall price level increases due to higher costs of production, which reflects in terms of the increases price of goods and commodities, which majorly uses inputs. This inflation is triggered from the supply side, i.e. because of less supply. The opposite effect of this is called demand pull inflation, where higher demand triggers inflation. Now, apart from the rise of the prices of inputs, there could be other factors leading to supply side inflation, such as natural disasters or depletion of natural resources, monopoly, government regulation or taxation, exchange in rates, and etc. Generally, cost push inflation may occur in case of an inelastic demand curve, where the demand cannot be easily adjusted according to the rising prices.
The third one is printing a lot of money. If the central bank prints more money, it will inevitably lead to inflation, because the amount of money in circulation has a very important role in determining the value of the currency. When people hold too much money, while the number of goods sold is fixed or less, there will be an increase in the price of the goods, which in turn will cause inflation. For people who have fixed income, inflation is a very detrimental thing. For example, a retired civil servant can meet all his daily needs only with the pension fund, but 10 years later, his pension fund is no longer sufficient for his life because his purchasing power has decreased considerably due to inflation. So that's our presentation, and thank you.